We'll introduce now, if I may, the president of MIT, Rafael Reif. We're pleased that he could spend a couple of minutes with us to comment on the significance of the MIT Media Lab. I know we'll need to run to a meeting after his remarks, but we look forward to his reflections, and he will bring you Kofi Annan. President Reif.
Thank you, Tom, for introducing me. And I'm delighted to join you in celebrating 30 years of one of the biggest, boldest experiments in MIT's history. In the video clip we saw of President Wisner, he spoke with candor and passion about the dangers of nuclear missiles during the Cold War. Jerry had a way of infusing any conversation with truth, but especially so when the subject touched on science and technology and their impact, both good and bad, on society. Jerry believed deeply in the vital connections between the communications he studied as an engineer and the communications that flow between human beings through music, art, and media. He was a technologist, yes, one of the best, but he was a humanist too. For 30 years, the MIT Media Lab has brought to life Jerry's fascination with the convergence of technology and humanity. In the best MIT tradition, the Media Lab brings together people who are smart in a dozen different ways: musicians and architects, mathematicians and neuroscientists, urban planners and biologists, all of them challenging each other, inspiring one another, and working together to invent the future. The impact of the Media Lab speaks to the power of collaborative problem solving, and it represents the very best of our community. I wish Jerry were here to enjoy with admiration how far the Media Lab has come. What would he make of Hugh Hearst's bionic limbs that emulate nature? Or Neri Oxman's wearable digestive systems designed for the future inhabitants of Jupiter's moons? What would you think of Ramesh Raskar's ability to perform clinical eye tests with an ordinary smartphone? Or Rosalind Picard's affective computing, technologies that recognize, interpret, process, and simulate human emotions? Without the Media Lab, only Penn and Teller could deliver magic like that. But from the start, the Media Lab had a magician in the family. In 1966, at the tender age of 22, an architect who wasn't really interested in pursuing architecture joined the MIT faculty. A year later, he founded the Architecture Machine Group, a kind of laboratory think tank for studying human-computer interaction. MIT and the world have not been the same since. So much of the Media Lab's success can be traced directly to the vision of Nicholas Negroponte, the man for whom TED Talks were invented, literally. Nicholas has said of the Media Lab, if you want to do something impossible, come here. His vision was simple: to give others like himself square pegs who did not fit neatly into round holes, an intellectual home, a place to collaborate in finding solutions that demolish the usual academic silos. For 30 years, the results have been breathtaking. With Nicholas leading the way, the Media Lab invented many of the technologies that fueled the digital revolution of the 1980s, the late 1980s and 90s. And it reshaped how we imagine the role of technology in our lives. In a world of Twitter, apps, and smartphones, the questions Nicholas asked 30 years ago are more relevant than ever. When Nicholas stepped down as chairman of the Media Lab, he embarked upon his next world-altering adventure, one laptop per child, based on the dream of a $100 laptop. The man who unveiled the first working prototype was our next speaker, former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. Throughout his remarkable career, Mr. Annan has earned a reputation as a tireless advocate for the disenfranchised, a highly respected leader, and a wise and effective problem solver. Since leaving the UN, the 2001 Nobel Peace Prize winner has continued his life's work seeking solutions to the world's great challenges. A man after our hearts at MIT. In early 2008, he led the African Union's panel of eminent African personalities, which mediated a peaceful resolution to violence in Kenya. In 2012, he served as the UN Arab League Joint Special Envoy for Syria. He also established the Kofi Annan Foundation, whose mission is to promote effective governance to achieve a more just and more secure world. And if all of that weren't enough, he's also a proud Course 15 alum. In addressing the MIT class of 1997, Mr. Annan made an interesting comparison between MIT's reverence for science and the UN's commitment to international peace. Both, he said, are constructs of reason engaged in a permanent struggle against the forces of unreason. Both are experimental, and both, he concluded, seek universal truths. His comparison certainly rings true here at MIT, and it speaks directly to the mission and impact of the MIT Media Lab. It is a tremendous honor to welcome back to our campus Mr. Kofi Annan.